Scientists have recently made a shocking discovery about Tulare Lake, one of California's largest freshwater lakes. After extensive research, they've uncovered something that has stunned them. The findings have far-reaching implications, which are significant for the environment and those who rely on the lake. So what exactly did the scientists discover? Do you think the Tulare Lake incident is happening because Rapture is coming? Inside this video, we are going to uncover the reasons. Tulare Lake, one of the biggest freshwater body west of the Mississippi River, held a significant place in California's San Joaquin Valley. The melting snow from the neighboring Sierra Nevada mountains and heavy winter rainfall used to replenish its basin. Still, by 1920, the rivers that fed the lake had been diverted or dammed for agricultural purposes. As a result, the lakebed now hosts a variety of crops and farms. Recently, in the first quarter of 2023, heavy precipitation in the form of rainfall and snow caused water to accumulate on the dry lakebed once again. The Landsat 8 Satellites Operational Land Imager, OLI, captured the spectacle on March 29, 2023. The satellite's false color image depicts the agricultural fields of Corcoran covered in water, with the water appearing dark blue. The green indicates vegetation, and the brown represents the barren ground. The image from March 2022 acquired by the Operational Land Imager 2 OLI on Landsat 9 shows the same region without water. The largest city near Tulare Lake is Corcoran, with a population of approximately 22,000. Due to the recent flooding, several roads in the city are closed, and many homes are inundated with water. Furthermore, the smaller towns of Allensworth and Alpaugh, located south of the lake, have been encircled by overflowing rivers and under evacuation warnings as of March's conclusion. NASA recently released images showing the Tulare Lake bed in California, captured by the Moderate Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, MODIS, on NASA's Aqua satellite. These images provide a wider view of the flooding progression between March 2nd and April 1st, 2023. The flooding was caused by two atmospheric rivers that hit California in March, leading to flooding along the San Joaquin River and a breach of the Los Angeles Aqueduct. According to Safiq Khan, an agricultural engineer and adjunct civil and environmental engineering professor at the University of California, Merced, the Tulare Basin is known to flood occasionally during extremely wet years, and years with abundant snowpack on the Sierra Nevada mountains. He stated that the lakebed flooded in 1969, 1983, and 1997. Before this year, 1969 and 1983 held the record for the wettest years with near-record snow levels in the region. Khan also mentioned that the Tulare Basin is a significant agricultural production hub, with 4 counties, Fresno, Kern, Kings, and Tulare, among the state's top producing countries. He added that the impact of the flooding is going to be prolonged, and that he serves as an extension specialist for the University of California's Division of Agriculture and Natural Resources, UCANR, which aims to connect farmers, industry, and communities with the latest scientific research. A miracle that is now a problem. The pastoral landscape now looks more like the Pacific Ocean in many areas, as people who have worked for a century to cultivate the land watch their hard work literally wash away. The situation is dire, and the basin begins to refill with water that was once a sprawling lake. The need for solutions becomes more urgent than ever. The Tulare Basin's slow-burning crisis has left experts and scientists concerned about the future of downstream communities. The historic snowpack in the mountains above the basin is melting, and the result is expected to be months of torment for those living in affected areas. In addition, the erratic weather patterns in California, which alternate between periods of drought and flood, have been exacerbated by climate change, making extreme weather events more frequent and intense. According to Jeffrey Mount, a senior fellow at the Water Policy Center of the Public Policy Institute of California, this is a slowly unfolding natural disaster. There's no way to handle it with the existing infrastructure. As the Tulare Lake reforms after being drained for farming a century ago, growers in the region producing almonds, pistachios, milk, and fruit may experience disruptions for years. Decisions about where the water travels will have far-reaching consequences across the country's grocery store shelves, highlighting the impact of climate crisis on the nation's food supply. As flooding worsens in the Tulare Basin, farming communities are experiencing strained relationships and disagreements. According to Matt Hurley, a former water manager for several water districts in the area, accusations of sabotage levees, frantic efforts to patch breached banks, and feuds have already started. Stress levels could remain high for months. According to Hurley, the current year has brought about a significant problem that is yet to unfold completely. The streams in the area are either running at or near flood levels, which is expected to continue until August or September. Moreover, there is an enormous snowpack over 50 feet deep, and it hasn't been seen in 75 years. This impending monster of a snowpack is a significant concern since nobody knows how quickly it will turn into water and flow down the mountains. The Tulare Basin, situated at the southern tip of California's San Joaquin Valley, is a colossal bowl. In the past, before irrigators rerouted water for farming, the lower reaches of the basin were filled by Tulare Lake. It was the largest freshwater body west of the Mississippi, and the shallow waters stretched across the landscape. As we already talked about, in the past, the Kings, Tule, Kern, and Kauai rivers were crucial in maintaining Tulare Lake's water levels every spring. However, farmers have diverted and rerouted so much water that the lakebed is now usually dry. Despite this, the land is among the most fertile in the country, and the irrigation system is designed to utilize every drop of water that flows into the basin. As a result of aggressive groundwater pumping, farmers collectively use more water than what would flow to the lake annually. This pumping has caused the land to sink drastically, with some parts of the San Joaquin Valley subsiding by as much as 28 feet, deepening the bowl. This season, far more water is flowing than can be used. For nearly 2 weeks, farmers and emergency workers have been working tirelessly to prevent the worst from happening by plugging levees. Despite their efforts, dozens of levees have been breached. Construction sites for California's high-speed rail project have been swamped, and several communities, including Allensworth, have been affected. Mount says the current situation is primarily due to traditional flood problems. However, the water is gradually making its way to the bottom of the bowl, filling it up. It clearly indicates the severity of the problem at hand, and immediate action needs to be taken to prevent further damage to the region. What could come next is more unusual and worrisome. The Tulare Basin, a region in California, is facing a critical threat from the Sierra Nevada mountains. This year's snowpack in the mountains is 2 to 3 times larger than usual, and if it melts quickly, it could lead to disastrous consequences. The resulting floodwater could inundate the lakebed and cause extensive damage to the surrounding area. Tulare Lake was refilled during the wet seasons in 1983 and 1997, but this year's situation is worse. Mount's analysis indicates that up to 100,000 acres of land could be submerged underwater if conditions worsen. This poses a severe threat to Tulare County, the second-ranked county in the country for agricultural market value. The county produces various crops including almonds, oranges, pistachios, wine grapes, milk, and cheese. As a result, flooding could have a ripple effect on the nation's food supply. California officials have mobilized a significant emergency response effort to combat the potential disaster. In Tulare County alone, nearly 700 people have been deployed to help with the response. However, traditional flood control measures such as sandbags and helicopter-delivered super sacks filled with rocks and other materials can only do so much. During a recent media briefing, Carla Nemeth, the California Department of Water Resources Director, acknowledged that there is an excess of water in the Sierra Nevada mountains that could overwhelm existing facilities. She expressed her agency's commitment to minimizing the damage caused by potential flooding in the region. However, once the water reaches the historic lake bed, there are limited options for removing it other than waiting for it to evaporate or moving it through canals. Moving water through canals can be challenging, as different levels of subsidence along the lake bed have altered the geometry of the channels. Moreover, pumps are expensive and inefficient over vast areas. In 1983, remnants of Tulare Lake remained on the landscape for roughly 2 years, highlighting the long-lasting impact of flooding in the region. If flooding occurs again, restoring the landscape to growing crops could cost billions, according to Hurley. The flooding could also devastate the farm workers and rural communities that populate the Tulare Basin. The region is home to many communities that rely heavily on agriculture for their livelihoods, and a major flood could have far-reaching economic and social consequences. What do you think of the situation of Lake Tulare? Comment below and make sure to subscribe for more.